Hello, welcome to Purple Planet, where we help you drift into dreamland with the timeless and historical tales of queens, empresses, priestesses, and warriors from across the ages. As you begin to relax and your eyes grow heavier, allow yourself to drift backward through the hush of centuries, through the gentle folds of time. Let the world around you soften, shadows growing longer, as a quiet evening settles over your thoughts. Imagine a land wrapped in mist, where soft winds wander over hills and forests, carrying the scent of earth and rain. There, in the hush between twilight and dream, lies a tapestry of old legends woven with threads of moonlight and the hush of secrets kept by ancient trees. Tonight, you are invited to journey into one of these legends, a tale born in the distant archipelago, once known as Wakoku, now called Japan. It is a land of silent mountains, sacred groves, and rivers that glimmer beneath the stars. The air is cool, the sky deepening into indigo, and everywhere the world is quiet, expectant. In this world, long before the first written words touched bamboo, stories traveled like whispers on the wind. They spoke of spirits in the woods, of rituals beneath the ever-turning sky, of rulers who were more than human, keepers of balance between earth and heaven. Among these stories, one name drifts softly across time, a name carried by the breeze, remembered in old songs and ancient scrolls. It is said that in the shrouded dawn of history, there was a queen unlike any other. Her name was Himiko. She was priestess and ruler, enigma and guide, her life wrapped in layers of mist and wonder. As night deepens and your breath grows slow, let yourself drift into her world. Listen to the quiet rustle of robes, the distant call of a night bird, the gentle sigh of incense rising in a silent chamber. Here, in the hush of ages past, a story unfolds, softly, dreamlike, as if woven by the night itself. Rest now and follow the path into ancient Japan, where the mists part for a queen whose legend endures. Soft winds carried her name. Soft winds carried her name. Beyond the gentle veils of sleep, the archipelago of ancient Japan waits, quiet and unhurried. It is a land not yet called by its modern name, but known in distant records as Wakoku, the country of Wa. Here, the air is thick with the fragrance of moss and pine, and every dawn arrives trailing silver mist across emerald valleys. Picture a land before memory, before ink found paper, before emperors and samurai. The world is softer here, blurred at the edges, shaped by the lullabies of wind and water. Vast forests sweep across the hillsides, their branches tangled in drifting fog. Rivers curve and wander, their voices hushed, their surfaces broken only by the gliding of waterfowl or the gentle splash of a deer's step. In small villages, scattered like secrets across the land, people gather around fires that flicker and dance, casting shadows on faces that listen, wrapped to the stories of elders. These are stories as old as the stones beneath their feet, stories of gods and spirits who watch over the fields, of ancestors whose whispers ride the night breeze. The world is alive with unseen presences. Every rustle in the grass, every sigh of wind in the pines carries a quiet magic. The people of Wakoku live in close kinship with the land. Their homes are simple, their lives marked by the rhythm of seasons, the planting and reaping, the coming and going of rain. There is no written language yet, no chronicles, carved in wood or stone. Instead, history passes from mouth to ear, from elder to child, soft and fluid as the river itself. Yet, even in those distant days, the world beyond the sea was watching. Across the shifting waters, in the land of the Han and Wei dynasties, Chinese scribes wrote of a distant, mysterious country. They called it Wakoku, and its people were said to be peaceful, skilled in weaving and pottery, their rulers wise and strange. In the great scrolls, known as the Weiqi, the records of the three kingdoms, there is mention of a land to the east, beyond the horizon's reach. The people there are many, their islands scattered like jewels across the sea. They are ruled, says the record, by a woman, a queen whose name is Himiko. The Chinese never saw her face, yet her presence drifted over the waves, subtle as incense, strong as the rising sun. Within this tapestry of legend and memory, the kingdom of Yamatai emerges. Where Yamatai lay, whether in the green embrace of Kyushu or the rolling heartland of Honshu, remains a mystery, a puzzle gentled by time. Some believe it was a place of broad fields and calm waters, where rice paddies shimmered in the morning light, and sacred groves sheltered ancient shrines. Others say it was a kingdom of hidden valleys, guarded by mountains where spirits walked in the dusk. The people of Yamatai, like their neighbors, lived close to nature's pulse. Their days were shaped by ritual and reverence, by the slow unfolding of the seasons. In their villages, life was quiet, marked by daily tasks, the weaving of mats, the grinding of grain, the gentle bending of backs in the rice fields. It is the beginning of the Kofunu period in the 3rd century, or around 250 CE. Burial mounds rise like sleeping giants beneath the grass. The people honor their dead with care, believing that the boundary between worlds is thin, that those who have gone before still wander the night, still listen to prayers, borne on incense and wind. In the stillness that lingers between night and dawn, there is a sense of yearning, a hush, as if the land itself waits for a gentle hand to guide it. The people of Yamatai, scattered across their mist-veiled villages, feel the weight of unrest drifting through the days and nights. It is said that a shadow had fallen, a time of discord, and voices raised in grief. Clan rose against clan, and the soft order of life was troubled, like a pond disturbed by wind. Yet, even in the deepest unrest, hope kindles quietly, flickering like the embers of an evening fire. There are whispers that travel from village to village of a woman who walks between worlds, whose eyes hold the reflection of water and sky, whose words soothe as softly as falling rain. In this troubled era, the people look to the sacred, to the unseen, for solace and direction. She is called Himiko. No one remembers the first time her name was spoken, only that it returns again and again on the lips of those who seek peace. Some believe she was born beneath a crescent moon, in a house where the wind carried the scent of camellias and cedar. Others say she was chosen by the spirits themselves, marked from childhood by a quiet wisdom, an openness to the mysteries of the world. Himiko does not seek the power that finds her. She lives apart in a dwelling that sits high above the village, veiled by drifting incense and the gentle rustle of silk. Her days are spent in meditation, her nights in communion with the spirits of the land, the kami who dwell in rocks and streams, in groves of ancient trees, In the hush of falling twilight, she is a priestess, a shaman, one who walks the trembling line between earth and heaven. Her rituals are soft and slow, shaped by the rhythm of breath and the turning of the seasons. She chants in a voice that barely disturbs the air, her words carrying prayers for harmony, for rain, for the health of the people. Sometimes, it is said, she disappears for days, wandering beneath the moon, returning with new wisdom, her presence quieter, yet deeper than before. The elders gather, their faces lined with care, and they listen to Himiko's gentle words. They see the calm she brings, the way her presence soothes quarrels, the way the air seems to brighten where she walks. In time, they come to her, not with demands, but with offerings of rice and cloth, with silent gratitude, and finally with a plea to guide them, to bring peace, to become their ruler. It is not a coronation marked by drums or banners. There is no gold, no glittering procession, only the soft gathering of people beneath the morning sky. They bow their heads and speak her name, and the name drifts on the wind, settling among the leaves and stones. Himiko accepts their trust with humility, her gaze serene, her heart steady as the river. She rules not from a throne, but from a place of stillness, from the quiet center of all things. Her world is a world of women, attendants who move like shadows, their footsteps muffled by woven mats, their voices hushed in reverence. Only one man is permitted near her, a messenger, a bridge between her sacred seclusion and the world beyond. He carries her words to the people, returns with the troubles and hopes of the villages, always bowing low before her silent wisdom. Under Himiko's gentle guidance, the wounds of the past begin to close. Disputes soften into compromise. Old rivalries drift away like mist at sunrise. The people sense a new order, an invisible weaving of harmony that binds them, one to another, to earth and to sky. Fields flourish, rains fall in their time, and the air is filled with the quiet music of peace. It is said that Himiko's dreams were long and deep, that she walked each night through the world of spirits, gathering counsel from those who have gone before. She brought back their secrets, their blessings, and wove them into the fabric of daily life. Her rule was not loud or boastful, but gentle, persistent, a hush that soothes, a hand that guides. And so the land of Yamatai rests calmed by her presence, the people breathing easier beneath the endless sky. In every village, in every home, her name is spoken with gratitude. Beyond the quiet fields and sacred groves of Yamatai, the world was vast, its borders marked not by lines on a map, but by the far-off shimmer of the sea. On calm days, the horizon blended sky and water into a single, endless blue. Ships moved slowly, their sails billowing like the wings of great birds, carrying travelers and dreams between distant shores. It is in this gentle crossing of worlds that Himiko's presence reached beyond her own land. Word of her wisdom, her peace, drifted outward, caught on the same winds that carried the scent of rice and incense. Across the restless waves, to the courts of great kingdoms in China, her name was spoken, softly at first, but with growing wonder, as if it were a secret revealed by the tides. Imagine a delicate scroll, bound with silk, carried by careful hands over the swelling sea. On its surface, brushstrokes unfurl like reeds in the wind, messages from one world to another, bearing news of Yamatai and its priestess queen. The journey is long, the days marked by the gentle rocking of the boat, the night sky bright with unfamiliar stars. Himiko sends emissaries, chosen with care, their hearts steady and their voices soft. They bow before the Emperor of Wei, presenting gifts from her distant kingdom, fine cloth, rare treasures, and words of respect. In return, the court bestows on Himiko titles and seals, symbols of recognition and distant friendship. The scrolls record her as the Queen of Wa, a ruler who brings peace to her people and honors the harmony of heaven and earth. There's no rush in these exchanges, no urgency, only the slow unfolding of understanding between worlds. The tribute flows quietly, a rhythm as gentle as the tide. New objects arrive in Yamatai, mirrors that catch the sunlight, beads that glimmer in the dusk, fabrics that rustle like the breath of spring. Each gift is accepted with reverence, woven into the rituals of the court, reminders of the great world beyond the misty shores. The Queen's emissaries return, their stories winding through the villages, like rivers through the land. Children listen wide-eyed as tales of distant palaces and foreign customs are shared by firelight. Yet, for all the wonder of the world beyond, life in Yamatai flows on, slow, harmonious, shaped by the same soft winds. These moments of contact fold seamlessly into the dreamlike rhythms of Himiko's reign. The world beyond is real, but it remains gentle, distant, a shimmer at the edge of the known. There is no fear, no sense of threat, only the quiet recognition that across the sea, others too bow beneath the same sun and moon. In time, the records in far-off China will remember Himiko, a queen whose wisdom traveled farther than her footsteps ever wandered. In the hush of her palace, surrounded by the soft rustling of ropes and the perfume of incense, she remains calm, her rule unshaken by the currents of distant empires. Soft winds wander the hills of Yamatai, and with them travel 1,000 questions, gentle and unresolved. Where once the name of Himiko hung like a blessing in the air, now, centuries later, it returns softly, softly, carried by the breath of scholars, storytellers, and dreamers. Mystery, as tender as mist, settles over her memory. In the Chinese chronicles, in the Weichu, the name of Himiko endures. The records speak in measured tones. A ruler who was both queen and shaman, chosen after years of turmoil, bringing peace to a fractured land. She is described as solitary, attended by 100 women. Her words reach in the outside world, only through a single trusted male intermediary. She sends emissaries to the court of Wei, seeking recognition, bearing tribute, and in return, the Chinese emperor bestows upon her gifts and the honored title, Queen of Wa, Friend of Wei. It is said that Himiko's rule was more than political. The people saw her as a bridge between the mundane and the sacred, her presence a calming current that held the world in balance. In the twilight hush of her chamber, surrounded by silent attendants, she would sit before the sacred mirror, a mirror believed by some to be a gift from the very gods, a symbol of the sun's divine favor. In time, the mirror would be called Yata-no-kagami, one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan. Some believe the mirror Himiko gazed into was the very same, or that her rituals inspired its veneration. Round and shining, it was said to reflect not merely the face, but the soul, the hidden truths of ruler and realm alike. In the soft glow of lamplight, Himiko sought guidance within its depths, her eyes searching for omens, her hands steady and sure. It is said that the mirror was cast not by human hands, but by the blessing of the gods. Some whisper that the mirror is a doorway, and when Himiko gazes into its depths, she sees not only the present, but the ripples of fate and the shimmering threads that bind all things. On nights when the moon is new and the wind is soft, her attendants watch as she sits in perfect stillness, her hands folded, her eyes reflecting the silvered surface. In that moment, the boundary between the worlds grows thin, and her chamber breathes with the presence of spirits. The mirror became a symbol, clarity, wisdom, the unbroken link between earth and sky. Its surface, polished to a gentle gleam, was a portal to the spirit world, a place where prayers might be heard and visions softly granted. Some believe that, as she gazed into the mirrored surface, Himiko communed with Amaterasu, the sun goddess, seeking counsel from the radiant deity whose light fell on every field and every home. In the folds of legend, Himiko herself was said to be descended from the sun goddess, her presence a living link to the divine, her rituals, soft chants that drifted through the air, the gentle waving of sakaki branches, the slow, circular dance became the heartbeat of Yamatai. In her presence, the world felt whole, the boundary between the human and the sacred worn thin by reverence and hope. Archaeologists centuries later would search for traces of her kingdom. They would find, scattered through the islands, haniwa, clay figurines, shaped by careful hands, placed as guardians atop the ancient burial mounds. They would uncover mirrors too, buried with the honored dead, their surfaces dulled by time, but still holding the memory of reflected sunlight. Could one of these mirrors have been Himiko's own, her face once seen in its shining circle? It is said that when Himiko died, her people mourned as one. Over 100 servants, attendants who had lived in her shadow, who had shared her silence, were said to have followed her into the afterlife. Their names are gone, lost in the slow drift of centuries. Yet their devotion lingers, a hush that hovers over the story of the queen. After Himiko's passing, it is written, chaos threatened the land once more. The delicate peace she had woven began to fray, and for a time, the soft order of Yamatai trembled at the edge of uncertainty. But again, the people turned to the sacred, to the lineage of priestess queens, and a new ruler was chosen. A girl named Iyo, some say, young yet wise, who restored calm and allowed the land to breathe easy once more. In the centuries that followed, Himiko's story became more than memory. Her legend was woven into the fabric of Japan, half remembered, half imagined, echoing in the rituals of shrine maidens and the silent reverence of those who gaze upon the imperial regalia. She became a symbol of divine femininity, of grace and mystery, of a peace that can never quite be touched, only felt, soft as a sigh, enduring as the wind. And so the centuries pass, and the questions remain. Where did Yamatai truly stand? Was Himiko the first in a line of priestess queens, or the last of her kind? Did she hold the sacred mirror, or was it only a dream, reflected from another age? The answers drift, gentle and unhurried, like clouds over ancient hills. Soft winds move through the palace of Yamatai, weaving between latticed screens and scented lanterns, their song a gentle reminder that every ruler's story is half dream, half memory. Himiko's myth grows with each telling, her face glimpsed in the shiver of candlelight, her voice heard in the susurrus of rain upon lacquered wood. The people say she was more than queen, more than shaman. She was the soul of Yamatai, the heart that beat beneath the silken hush of night. Her rule is a tapestry of stillness and vision. Each dawn, the palace fills with the rustle of robes and the low murmur of prayers. Himiko's attendants, chosen for their devotion and quiet grace, move as if in a sacred dance, their presence a living shield between their queen and the tumult of the world. They carry offerings, bowls of rice, sprays of evergreen, petals of camellia, into her chamber, where the air is always sweet with incense. Stories drift through the land, gentle as a lullaby, that Himiko's power comes from this communion. When drought threatens, she calls for ritual, her voice rising in song, her hands lifting the mirror to the light, and the skies open, blessing the fields with rain. When sickness shadows a village, she sends a prayer, a charm, a whispered promise carried on the wind, and soon the children run laughing again. The old ones breathe easier. In the cool hush of her palace, Himiko rarely speaks, but her eyes are deep with knowing. Those who stand before her feel the touch of her regard, a warmth that soothes anger, a calm that settles restlessness. She does not command with harsh words or heavy hands. Her will is a current, invisible but irresistible, shaping Yamatai with the same quiet persistence as water shapes a stone. Some say that even a ruler's heart is not immune to longing. The one man allowed into her sanctuary, the intermediary, is chosen for his honesty and humility. He kneels before her, never meeting her gaze, his words careful and respectful. Between them, there grows a bond, one woven not of passion, but of trust, of unspoken understanding, a gentle harmony that needs no declaration. In quiet moments, when the world is still, he brings her news of the people, tales of newborn calves, of lovers reunited, of fields ripening with promise. Himiko listens, her face composed, but sometimes her hand lingers over a letter, her breath catches at a memory, and the air holds a sweetness, as if the gods themselves smile upon such silent affection. Yet, romance in Himiko's world is always gentle, always veiled by the demands of her calling. Her love is the love of a caretaker, of a priestess for her land, of a queen for the peace she must preserve. The people sense it in the way she blesses their children, in the prayers she offers at dawn, in the silence she keeps so faithfully. As years pass, legend and history entwine ever more closely. Himiko's image flickers on the boundary of myth, her presence felt in every shrine where a mirror stands, in every ritual where a priestess lifts her hands to the sky. The sacred mirror remains a symbol, its roundness echoing the sun, its brightness a gentle reminder that even the past is a living thing, reflected anew in each act of reverence. In the quiet villages of Yamatai, elders gather children near the fire and tell the story again and again of the queen who spoke to gods, who ruled with wisdom and stillness, who loved her people as she loved the hush of night. In the twilight hush, as the seasons turn and the fires burn low, the myth of Himiko continues to unfurl, soft, endless, as if the story itself has become part of the wind. Within Yamatai, it is said every ritual and every quiet moment bore her imprint. Each shrine, no matter how humble, was touched in spirit by her presence, and every mirror, polished until it shone like a second sun, became a gentle echo of her gift. The sacred mirror, always the mirror, remains at the heart of her legend. Some say that when Himiko gazed into its depths, she did not merely see her own reflection, but glimpsed the shape of the world's soul. In its flawless circle, the past and future mingled. The faces of ancestors appeared and faded, offering counsel with silent lips and knowing eyes. The mirror, it is said, held the memory of every prayer and every promise, a well of calm into which Himiko poured her hopes for her people and her land. On festival nights, when lanterns floated atop dark rivers and the air shimmered with the scent of pine and plum, the people of Yamatai would gather in the fields beyond the palace. There, beneath banners of silk and the watchful gaze of the moon, they sang the songs of their queen. Some believed that Himiko herself, veiled in shadow and incense, would join them in spirit, her laughter a hush in the reeds, her blessing borne on the night air. The rituals of Himiko's court were slow and deliberate, each movement imbued with reverence. Her attendants, loyal and silent, their eyes downcast in the presence of the sacred, would prepare the chamber for communion. They hung garlands of evergreen, filled bowls with fragrant water, and scattered petals across the woven mats. When the time came, Himiko would enter, her pace unhurried, her figure wrapped in robes the color of dawn. The ceremony would begin with a soft chant, a melody that seemed to rise from the earth itself. And as the last note faded, she would lift the mirror, tilting it toward the pale light. Those present would say that in that moment, the air changed, the world stilled, and the boundary between seen and unseen all but vanished. Sometimes, the stories say, a faint light would flicker within the mirror, as if the sun itself had come down to rest in Himiko's hands. In these moments, people believed the land was blessed. Crops would flourish, storms would pass gently, and even the sick would wake with a new strength. Such miracles were never claimed by the queen. Her lips always curved in the smallest, softest smile, but the faith of the people grew deeper with each passing year. The myth of Himiko is not one of conquest or thunder, but of peace that saturates the bones, of understanding that runs deeper than words. She is remembered as a ruler who listened to the earth, to the spirits, to the smallest hopes and quietest fears of her people. Her justice was not the justice of law and sword, but the justice of balance, of things set right by kindness and time. In the centuries that followed, poets would write of Himiko's gentleness, her wisdom, and the mystery that clung to her like morning dew. Some would imagine secret romances beneath the cherry trees, her voice murmuring low to the one man who was allowed to walk at her side. In these tales, their love is quiet, never declared, always sensed, as if the world itself conspired to keep it hidden and safe. He is her messenger, her friend, her silent confidant. She is his moon, his guide, the untouchable center of his longing. Yet always, duty stands between them, as soft and immovable as mist. Their hearts beat in unison, but their lives are woven for the world, not for themselves. Other stories grow with the telling. Some say Himiko could command the rain and still the wind. Her words a lullaby for the restless elements. Others insist she spoke with foxes and cranes, that the animals came to her at dusk and dawn, bringing secrets from the farthest corners of the land. In every tale, she is a bridge between human and spirit, between the old world and the new, between what is lost and what endures. As time slipped onward, the memory of Himiko became a touchstone. In times of trouble, the people would recall her calm. In moments of joy, they would thank her spirit for their fortune. Her name was invoked in prayers for safe travel, for healing, for bountiful harvests. The mirror, always polished, always present, remained a symbol of her promise that wisdom and peace were never far, if only one looked with patience and hope. And so the myth of Himiko endures. In every ripple of water, in every hush of wind through cedar branches, her story lingers, a promise that the world too can be made whole by gentle hands and a listening heart. Her rituals, woven with ancient words and slow, deliberate gestures, become the heartbeat of the kingdom. In the first light of morning, attendants draw water from the purest springs, their reflections trembling on the surface as if the spirits themselves are watching. They gather sacred sakaki branches, their leaves cool and waxen, and lay them before the queen. Silence reigns. Incense rises in silver trails, drifting upward to meet the sun. In this gentle haze, Himiko's voice, low and measured, as soft as falling petals, begins the prayers that keep the world in balance. It is said that when she speaks, the air itself listens. Crops bend in the fields, streams run clear, and the animals of the forest draw near, sensing the peace that radiates from her presence. In the evenings, as twilight gathers and frogs call softly from the paddies, the queen sits before her mirror once more. Some believe that in these moments she receives visions, glimpses of distant lands, warnings of storms, memories from a time before time. The stories grow elaborate in the retelling. It is whispered that Himiko's attendants witnessed her floating in trance, her hair fanned out like dark silk, her body untouched by the ground. They say she spoke in languages no one else knew, words that soothed the restless spirits and stilled the hearts of the uncertain. On rare nights, a hush more profound than sleep would descend, and the people would wake in the morning to find the world changed. A long drought broken by gentle rain, a lingering illness suddenly eased, a bitter feud resolved with nothing but a single silent glance from the queen. Yet, for all her mystery, Himiko is not distant. Her care for her people is tender and constant. She listens to the troubles brought by her trusted messenger, her brow furrowed in gentle thought. Sometimes the burdens weigh heavy on her, and she slips away under the cover of night, walking the paths between rice paddies, moving through the cool hush of bamboo groves, her presence known only to the stars and the restless wind. In the world beyond her palace, the legend of Himiko takes on new life. Children play in the fields, pretending to be the queen, holding up polished stones as if they were sacred mirrors, mimicking her calm authority. Elders tell tales of her wisdom, the way she could settle disputes with a single word, her ability to see into men's hearts and draw out the truth without anger or fear. Even the smallest gesture, a touch on a child's head, a blessing whispered over a newborn, becomes a story in itself, retold on winter nights when the wind howls and the world feels especially fragile. As the years slip by and the faces in the palace change, the story of Himiko remains. In every ritual, in every quiet act of kindness, her presence lingers, a gentle guide, a promise that even in the darkest times, peace is possible, and the world can be remade with patience, compassion, and a listening heart. Under Himiko's gentle reign, the kingdom blooms anew. Each day unfolds with the slow grace of a lotus opening. the worries of the past loosening their grip on the people's hearts, peace settles over Yamatai, not as a sudden hush, but as a steady, reassuring presence, like dew on grass at dawn, or the steady rhythm of a mother's breath as she rocks her child to sleep. The rituals shaped by Himiko's hand become the threads that bind village to village, person to person. The people gather at shrines shaded by ancient trees, where water trickles over smooth stones and the air is thick with the fragrance of incense. They bow their heads as priestesses offer prayers for health, for bountiful harvests, for harmony among the clans. Sometimes Himiko herself appears, her presence quiet yet profound, her gaze lingering on the faces of children, her blessings falling like soft rain. In these moments, the boundaries between ruler and subject, between sacred and everyday, dissolve. The people feel her care in the gentle order of their days, in the way disputes are settled, not with anger, but with understanding. They sense her wisdom in the timing of festivals, in the guidance given to those who seek counsel, in the mysterious way that happiness and plenty seem to follow wherever her name is spoken. Beyond the villages, in the deep forests and on the mist-shrouded hills, Himiko's legend grows. Travelers tell of seeing her at the edge of the woods, her robes trailing through ferns, her eyes reflecting the last golden light of sunset. Hunters claim she speaks to the animals, that deer come to her without fear, and cranes circle above her as she walks by the river. Some say she can calm a storm with a word, or summon the morning fog with a wave of her hand. The children listen with wide eyes as their elders recount these tales, their voices low and reverent. They learn that Himiko is not just a queen, but the spirit of the land itself, a guardian whose love for her people is as boundless as the sky. On nights when the moon is full and the wind moves gently through the fields, the children repeat her name, believing it will bring them dreams of beauty and peace. As the years pass, Himiko's influence deepens. She is sought not only for her governance, but as an oracle, a keeper of secrets, a healer whose wisdom is felt long after her words have faded. Her rituals mark the turning of the seasons, the planting and harvesting of rice, the coming of the new year. At each transition, the people gather, joining their hopes and fears with her prayers, trusting that her voice carries their wishes to the gods. Through all these quiet seasons, the queen's own heart remains largely hidden, her deepest feelings folded away like treasured letters. Yet, those who serve her see the tenderness with which she listens to her people, the way her eyes linger on the beauty of the world, the care with which her hand brushes a child's hair or lifts a blossom from the ground. The bond between Himiko and her messenger, though never named aloud, is felt by all, its strength woven into the calm that enfolds the kingdom. Under Himiko's watchful gaze, the years pass softly, each one a ripple upon the quiet surface of Yamatai's peace. The land grows gentle, the wounds of past discord, healing beneath her silent guidance. In the villages, laughter returns. In the fields, the rice grows tall and golden, bending in the breeze, as if bowing in gratitude. The people begin to trust in the rhythms of the world again, to feel that the seasons themselves are guided by a wise and loving hand. As age touches her brow and her hair grows silver at the temples, Himiko's wisdom deepens. She walks less often among her people, but when she does, her presence is like a blessing. Children press close, their eyes shining with reverence and wonder. Elders bow low, their voices trembling with gratitude. Even the animals seem to sense the change in the air. Birds settle quietly in the trees above. Foxes pause at the edge of the forest to watch her pass. It is during these later years that the greatest mysteries of Himiko's story begin to gather, swirling around her like morning mist. Some say that as her time on Earth draws to a close, she spends long hours in silent meditation, gazing into the sacred mirror, her face lit by a light not of this world. Attendants speak of a hush that fills her chamber, a peace so profound it brings tears to their eyes. There are whispers that, in those moments, she is already half in the world of the spirits, communing with ancestors, preparing for her final journey. When at last the day comes that Himiko's breath grows slow and her eyes close, for the final time, all of Yamatai falls into mourning. The skies darken, the wind grows still, and a sorrow as deep as the ocean settles over the land. For days, the people gather in silent vigils, their heads bowed, their prayers rising like incense to the heavens. They remember her not as a conqueror, but as a mother, a healer, a queen who wove peace where there was strife, who listened when all others turned away. Her burial is said to be as grand as her life was gentle. A great mound is raised, vast and solemn, its earth heaped high by thousands of careful hands. Offerings are placed within, mirrors and beads, precious cloth, tokens of gratitude and love. Some say that 100 attendants choose to follow her into the afterlife, their devotion a testament to the bond she forged in life and spirit. The mound becomes a place of pilgrimage, a silent hill rising above the mist, where the people come to remember, to weep, and to pray for guidance. Yet even in death, Himiko does not leave her people. Her spirit lingers soft as a sigh, moving through the fields at dawn, listening at the thresholds of sleeping homes. Her name is spoken in every prayer, her story retold at every gathering. The sacred mirror remains, no longer just a relic of ritual, but a living symbol of her promise that peace, once found, can endure, that wisdom, once given, can change the world. Years become decades, and decades turn to centuries. The mound grows over with grass and wildflowers, its secrets kept by time and the silence of the earth. Yet, in every season, the people return. They bring offerings of rice and sake, of folded paper and fragrant blossoms. They speak her name into the wind, trusting that it still carries, that she still hears. In the long shadow of her memory, Japan itself begins to change. New rulers rise, new stories are written. Yet the legend of Himiko endures. She becomes more than a queen. She becomes a symbol, a gentle guide for those who seek harmony, a whisper of hope in troubled times, a presence that moves always at the edge of dream and waking, as calm and enduring as the turning of the stars. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Queen Himiko. We wish you sweet dreams.